Hi all, right, back with more D-Day at Saipan. This will be part 31. About to start, hopefully we can get some US action phase done. But as usual, I've got a couple of things to talk about and a couple of things to fix, I think. Yeah, a couple of things to fix. Which I took note of, which I've noticed myself. It's however, part 29's out there now, part 30's out there as well for viewing. So I just put that up just now. So it's just anyway. Okay, well, let's get started. Right, yeah, part 29, and I eventually kind of realise what the issue is that I've got with this. So this is my bad. This is not anything that I think I might have been sort of like grumbling a little about what this part side of it was. Says start game turn 5 up there, and I'm like looking down here and thinking why. But this is from game turn 5. Why is that? What is this? Reinforce? What is this? Why is it under the eye action? You know, kind of confused by all that. And then while I was watching it back, I noticed that these two sections are split into two. And as we can see here, this is from game turns 1 to 4 down here. It's separated by this double black line sort of border. But this is game turns 1 to 4 down to here. And then this is games turns 5 to 7. And we know these start on turn 5. So these are for turns 5 to 7. And then you go back up here. I mean, I suppose you can... yeah, I can kind of see how I've sort of done it, but the way it's set out. But maybe I can't really blame the chart for it, really. You know, this is game turn 5 for these actions. And then most, you know, a lot of them saying same as. Well, this one says same as. And they're pretty much... they're pretty much the same, really, aren't they? Muster same as. These are same as well. And then, however, this part that was where it was causing me the confusion says start game turn 8. So game turn 8, for some reason, whether it'll become clear, changes a little bit. Whereas the A action, whereas an unoccupied in communication, well, hang on, sorry, like the occupied part here, right, hang on, this is the tanks, isn't it? Yeah, this is the tanks actions, but these are sort of different. These are different. So from game turn 8, an occupied X with US units in its field of fire, from game turn 5 to game turn 7 would be fire and assault counter-attack. And then from game turn 8 it says assault, and it's got number 2, Japanese position cannot have non-destroyed artillery. Now this is baffling as well then, because that is occupied no US units in field of fire there, and then this is occupied US units in field of fire, same as game turns 1 to 4. Yeah, okay, maybe this is not still clear to me then. This is the bit that I hadn't noticed. This here, game turns 5 to 7, start game turn 8. You know, but it looks like, whereas this action's carried out here from 5 to 7, going by this, from start game turn 8, there's no action for that. And the actual ambush action, it says there's no action. That seems to be what it says. And then strange stranger still, Well, I don't know. I mean, there's you get the infiltrate action from turns 5 to 7 for the eye there when it's unoccupied, and then you get a reinforce action here. I don't know. Maybe there's some reason for that. And again, we'll also noted that this says must be in Japanese communication, where it states in the actual rule that it's the opposite. It must be not in Japanese communication. So, yeah, okay. Well, I thought I'd noticed that and it started to become clear, but I'm still not that sure really. However, I thought it was because I just hadn't noticed this part, right? Yeah. Well, we'll see if anything. I don't think it's still quite clear about how you go about all that. Right, anyway, let's move on, Grant, because there's a lot to do. Notice that, again, part 29, this is a 25-minute mark, where I chose to take a hit, and I removed the step loss marker, and I chucked it back in the cup, and I thought it was the one that I'd seen, but to be honest, I was really just kind of gambling on which one I'd thrown in the cup. Now, I know this is maybe not a big deal, because they have different weapon requirements, but I like to try and be complete. So this is the weapon requirements that should have been on the unit. The problem here is I can't remember where the unit was. I want to see it was maybe the hero, actually. I'm going to have to go and look, obviously. Where is he? I think he's in here, isn't he? I think it's in here. So let's see, hang on, that would be disrupted. Right, let me have a look. Right, that's not where the hero is though. Yeah, I think it's here, isn't it? Right, I better go and look exactly where it is. No point trying to fix something and then not actually fixing it. Right, yeah, it's hex 1115, which is there. So, yeah, this is what I'm wanting to put. BZDEBR. That's what I've wrote down. Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, and I think I replaced it with a different one. So let me dismantle this hex and we'll have a look. Okay, so everything's disrupted in this hex, and that's in this hex here. And it was the step loss mark at the end. And I think what I was doing was, I was accepting the fact I had to take the hit, and I picked this up and I chucked it away. Then I realised that, hold on, I'm going to get the exact same effect by disrupting, well, I think this was undisrupted at the time. Wasn't it? And the unit was... No, the unit was... He was going to take a hit and be disrupted anyway. So I was as well disrupting both units to avoid the step loss. That was it, because the symbol wasn't in the selection. And then it was after I'd chucked the step loss marker away, I was like, oh no, I'm better doing that. And this is what step loss marker I thought it was. However, it was this one. Well, I say it was that one. It certainly had the weapon requirements on that side. And if you remember that if this gets hit again, this gets chucked away. So that one will go back into the cup, and that's that fixed basically. Right, and then the last one is at the 35-minute mark. Again, part 29. Where I seem to totally ignore the fact this yellow position fires with the... Where's the fire card? There, with the R action. So I actually think, yeah, it builds depth. I believe it builds depth and then fires. So it hits 2 units. Now this guy here is an intense. He takes a hit, which is correct. However, I look about from my other target, looking at this hexing. This is steady yellow, this is steady yellow, this is steady yellow, this is steady yellow, and I even look around to see if it stretches out to any of these hexes. Where I don't look is right here, which is kind of strange. It doesn't fire into there either, but I mean, it doesn't matter. This is an intense yellow. So it's just one of the moments where I don't know what happened. So I think I eventually find my second target in here, and it's an LVT as well, right at the bottom there. So this is the hit that give because it's unsteady and it has the symbol. However, that should not have been the hit because we did have another intense fired unit in this hex, so he should have took the hit instead. Now again, there was no disruption because this is revealed, but that LVTA should be, well, again, we still don't know for sure if the LVTAs should even be here, but yeah, so the hits given out should have been here and here, so that's that fixed. Now, right, so that was all the notes. Now there was 2 or 3 things I wanted to talk about. Well, one is when I was just about to close for the night last night. No, or was it today sometime? Yeah, I think it was this morning actually. Martin had sent me an email and had actually compiled some more questions for Joe. We've still not had a reply from him regarding all the questions. There was about, I want to say there was 15 questions before, I think. And he's added another, maybe another 10 on or something like that. And he says, what do you think about sending that off? Because we've not heard the reply yet anyway, and that'll give him the chance to look at all these rather than get answers back. And he believes that these questions that have been asked are ones that need to be answered to will help you to, so that you can continue with your game, you know. They're not ones that you could sort of like sneak by. We need to know. So, and there's a lot more come up. So I said, yeah, by all means. So I forwarded that on to Joe, and I got a reply from him not long after, saying that he's going to get to these the coming week, he said, which to me means from tomorrow through the week at some point. So hopefully we'll get some response next week regarding these things. And yeah, 2 or 3 of them were talked about in the last video, part 30 there, where I was getting a bit frustrated with some of the things. However, one of the things I maybe showed a little frustration of, and this was my bad, and obviously I'm glad Martin brought it up, and you know, like I say, I'm not flawless, I'm not going to get everything perfect, and of course it was the catastrophic loss situation, and I've not been doing it properly. So we've got 3 units over here, one of them from that 29th division, sorry, not division, regiment, or is it battalion, or whatever it is. Again, not 100% sure, but I think it should count towards this. Of course, and here's me looking, saying I've got 3 catastrophic loss. I thought, that's not too bad, because you need 12 for it to be a failure. However, that's not. They count for 2 each. So there was my first mistake. And my second mistake, more importantly, is that when... now, I know I went through this yesterday. You're in the wrong bit there, Grant. If an infantry / heavy weapons company suffers a second step loss, immediately place a step loss marker in the appropriate divisional loss box. So my thinking is, I mean, it doesn't say it's the one that's attached to the unit, but when an infantry battalion takes a second step loss, its first step loss gives it a step loss counter. Its second step loss removes that step loss counter and flips it over. And that's what we're talking about. So it says immediately place a step loss marker in the appropriate divisional loss box. So if we're talking a 2nd Marine Division unit, 1 on the map, it's got a step loss marker on it. It gets hit again. I'm going to take the step loss marker off it and put it into here. And it's going to count 1 towards catastrophic loss. These full units count 2 towards catastrophic loss. And then, if an infantry heavy weapons company is eliminated, remove 1 step loss marker and place the eliminated company in the appropriate divisional loss box. So, yeah, and I've been getting this wrong. And to be honest, we're about to go into the US action phase just now, and I'm obviously going to be going through every unit. Any unit I find, now I spoke wrongly I think, because I said it was any unit, where was the one that I highlighted? Yeah, it was way across here. Any unit that is a two-step unit that does not have a step loss marker should have a step loss marker in that divisional loss box. However, even when he takes another hit, that step loss marker will still be in the divisional loss box, and it'll only get removed when this unit is eliminated. And when he's eliminated, we discard his step loss marker and we remove the step loss marker that had been put in for him taking his second step loss at the beginning. Well, if that makes sense. It is a little bit complex, but not really that complex that Grant couldn't have read and understood that. I was trying to make excuses for where this is written in the rulebook, and just try to dig myself out a hole there. I think, man, I mean, you could sort of say that, if it was elsewhere in the book, I might have. I don't know. I feel like in the previous games talked about catastrophic loss nearer the beginning of the rules, but I might be wrong with that, you know. So so while we're going through our US action phase just now, I'm going to look at these and, like, what is this guy here, for instance? There's a perfect example. So what I'm going to do whenever I come across one is I'm going to randomly draw a step loss marker from the cup and put it in the divisional loss box. And I'm hoping that we don't gather another 6 of these, because if we gather 6, then game's over. And it may well, it is possible that that is the situation we're sitting right now, because I've been doing this wrong. So there we are. Now, should I maybe go through and have a look at these first? Before I start the US action phase? Well, maybe I should. Now, I've got to say that I definitely don't believe that the headquarters units are counted, because they don't get step loss markers. They just flip over, and then even if this becomes eliminated, my understanding is that's not going to count. It's only the heavy weapons and the actual companies that are going to count for this. So, I don't know, maybe I should have a little glance. I just figured I would count them up as I'm going along, carrying out the US actions. I think I'll do that. And you know what, if I happen to get to the end here and we've put 6 more counters in the divisional loss box, then you know what, I'm just going to stop the game there, and then I'm going to accept that I've been defeated with a catastrophic loss. And this whole US action phase is mute, and I shouldn't have been carrying it out from the start anyway. And maybe that's, in some ways, the way things have been going. Okay, we've had another, so at least, Joe's responded there saying he's going to give us these answers back next week. So am I confident that I'm going to get the answers back, that it's going to clear everything up for me? And no, I'm not, I have to say, but I hope I'm proven wrong by that. I hope Joe does come back, but I mean, I think the rule book's not good, and has not been. It's not good at all. I think this could be similar to the rule book in Iwo Jima, to be honest. I'd be curious to, like, let's not go into Iwo Jima. Anyway, okay, right, can we start the US action phase then, Grant? Because you're actually 20 minutes on already. Right, let's get going. And one of the things I've got to remember is we've got 4 movement points now compared to 3 that started. I don't think there's any other differences. Well, no, there is. There's big differences in the fact that we do not get 3 paid actions that we can use. We have to get actions from the command of our either battalion headquarters or our regimental headquarters. And if not that, then we can still maybe get something from free actions on page 14, 7.1. And there's 8 possible options there. Well, it tells you 8 ways in which you can give a a unit of free action. I mean, the 8th one says, starting with game turn 5, if units are within command range of either its battalion or regimental HQ, which is what I'm saying. So I suppose if you don't count that 8th one, then the rest sort of give you ways of maybe still being able to move a unit without it being in command as such. Okay, right, let's get this show on the road. Okay, wasn't sure where to start, but again, I think it's easier to look at adjacent Japanese units, you know, that you've got a chance of maybe attacking first. However, I need to keep in mind the withdraw situation, need to look out for that. Okay, so, well, first I started looking at this guy, and he's got flanking requirements, so clearly we can't take him out. I could easily enough disrupt him, which is probably what I'm going to do. But then I thought, well, let's look down further. And I looked at this guy, and of course this is... whether he should be here or not is another question as well. So anyway, he's in rough terrain. He's got flamethrower, Browning, and then the smoke markers irrelevant at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it might have helped us with movement under fire, but anyway, if we're going to try and maybe take this out. So he's got 4 strength. However, he gets 1.5 strength for being in rough. So he's got 6 strength. So, and then the big number, they are, as long as we've got the weapons, if we get 3 times, he's on his own, he's not got a death marker. So we need 18 strength to take him out. So, funnily enough, I've got 2 units from 2nd Battalion, 8th Regiment and here, both with step losses. That's 10 strength. And I could use this heavy weapons unit from 8th Regiment 2 to give me the 18. So that's perfect to take him out. However, although we've got control of this hex from this unit, we do not have control of this. So I started thinking, is it possible at all that I could get something moved into here? I mean, I really don't think it is. I mean, yes, I could take a chance and try and move this unit into here, but he's the guy that I want to try and disrupt this with, really. So, well, he's the only unit that can make an attack on that. Yes, we could barrage, possibly, from something else. Anyway, so, and then I thought, well, if I got something there, are we shutting off communication to this? Because we would then control this hex here. However, he can still, and I had to check that in the rules, it says 12.2.1 on page 24, negating US control for communication. A Japanese unit in a hex adjacent to a US unit negates US control of that hex for purposes of tracing Japanese communication through the hex, including tracing communication for the Japanese unit itself. And I thought this was the case, and I maybe not read that properly, but I did believe that there was something that allowed you to do that. So my reading of that is that if we were to put a US unit in here, we would have this hex controlled. Obviously, these roundabout are occupied, controlled, and then this would be occupied, this would be controlled. This exerts control into here. However, there's a Japanese unit here, and that's where that negates that control. So if we put a US unit in there, although this guy can't trace his communication through that hex, he can trace it through this hex, and then into this hex, and then away. So if we were able to go and do that, we then need to consider getting something in here so that we've got control of this hex to stop that. But yeah, I do think it's not really possible to do it. And then, well, it is possible, but again, like I say, I probably want to use this unit to... Oh, wait a minute though, Grant. If we... No, because then we're also going to be moving under fire between this and this with the blue. Now remember, this smoke, the smoke means that he only fires in the hex he's adjacent. I'm assuming the colours of the fire are just the same, but he doesn't, like for instance, he doesn't fire it in this hex at the moment, even though it says it's a blue fire from this. Because of the smoke, it just restricts him to fire round about. But it wouldn't stop anything between with this movement under fire move here. So admittedly it's a steady move under fire, so I need to draw a blue diamond to do it. Is this worthwhile thinking about all this, Grant? I'm not sure, because would still getting something in here isn't going to be that easy either, really. You know, this whole stack is disrupted, and whatever goes in here, this is no good because it needs to exert control into this hex. So it needs to be what, a 3-step, at least 3 steps in infantry, doesn't it, to be able to exert its control into adjacent hex. So, and then, you know, that's, are we not wanting to try and do something about this? Yeah. I think the best bet really is to probably just defeat this unit and move on. I mean, yes, it will go back. Where is it? Does it just go back into the cup? It does, doesn't it? Well, again, like I say, it's one of the ones that came in game turn 3. We're still not sure where they should actually be. I tend to agree with Martin on this one, but I don't know what to do with them. You know. So right, I think I'm just going to attack this. Now hang on here, we've got, so this is headquarters from 1-8, so he's not command, well actually he can command that. But it's within 2 hexes of regimental HQ, and it's within 3 of the battalion HQ. Where's 2nd 8th battalion HQ then? Well, does it matter? You're within 3, is probably in here, Grant. Yeah, it is in there. So both of these, to be honest, both of these HQs, the regimental and the battalion, are with, you know, they're able to give these free actions, right? I'm going to do this. These two, like I say, are both 5 strength. I'm going to attack with both of them. Now, I'm not sure what their weapons are, but it's not going to matter because this heavy weapons unit is going to attack as well. So, like I say, both of these have got they've got 1 step loss. Got 1 step loss. Now, should they? No, it's when they take a second hit that their markers would go into the divisional loss box. So I'm wanting to look for these en route. So these are not. It's not that these would be losses as such, right? Okay. So I've got 18 strength there. So I'm going to eliminate that guy because he's got 6. I've got 3 times. I have the weapons because that heavy weapons unit brings the flamethrower and the Browning. Like I say, I don't know what they've got. However, this guy is going to be able to withdraw. Now, yeah. So he would withdraw an empty hex if it was within 2, wasn't it? However, he can't go in here because this is not a detachment this time. So he can't retreat into the art. He's nobody else to retreat to. So he is defeated. However, he still escapes, doesn't he? Now, let me just find that again. Make sure we're doing that right. Yeah, so if he can withdraw, which he can, yeah. Well, hang on. Wait a minute. I'm sure I must be reading this wrong or in a Grant type way, I think. I've moved a wee counter about there. I've got to watch what I'm doing with my arms. I'm stretching over. This is page 18, 8.3.2, Japanese withdrawal. When a US attack defeats an elite Japanese unit, that's what we've done. If the unit can trace Japanese communication, the unit withdraws instead of being eliminated. Okay, so if the unit can trace Japanese communication, the unit withdraws instead of being eliminated. That's what's going to happen because he can trace Japanese communication. And then it goes on to tell you an elite unit cannot withdraw if the unit cannot trace the Japanese communication. Well, we'll establish that it can. Yeah, so there you are, Grant. Yeah, I had a feeling I was reading this. I guess it's just an elite unit cannot withdraw if the unit cannot trace the Japanese communication, or there are no Japanese positions within 2 hexes of the unit's current position that are not controlled by US forces, or the unit could only withdraw into a Japanese occupied position that would create an overstacked situation. So the thing is, 1, 2, and 3 there. But these are ORs, Grants. These are ORs. I'm sure I'm making a fool of myself here. I mean, it can't withdraw. It's got no Japanese positions within 2 hexes that are not controlled by US forces, and it's got no Japanese occupied positions that it could move to that would not create an overstacked situation. Now, I pointed out that unit here being within 2. However, this would be overstacked because that the elite unit is not a detachment and that wouldn't be allowed. So I think you should really just give up with this, Grant, because it can withdraw if because it can trace communication. An elite unit cannot withdraw if. Yeah, so I'm just having difficulty with the way that's saying or. What I'm trying to look at this in a way that says that if any of these are true, then it cannot withdraw. I think that's what I'm looking at. That's wrong, isn't it? Yeah, go and just leave it, Grant. Sorry. Because I've done this already. I don't know, I'm having difficulty reading that. The unit can trace Japanese communication, so it can withdraw, Grant. Can we just leave it at that? Right. And I think the following part where it talks about if the elite unit can withdraw, follow the below priorities for placing the unit. And I think this kind of like clears it up, really, if there was any sort of doubt. But I think I'm just having a daft moment. So if there are unoccupied Japanese positions, well, there are not. If there are no unoccupied Japanese positions, but there's an occupied position and it would not be overstacked, well, there is an occupied one, but it would be overstacked. So that's not an option either. So yeah, sorry, I'm making a right mess of this, I'm making a right mess of this. This is the case, Grant, isn't it? I think what I'm trying to find is, hang on. Yeah, this is right. What you were saying there was right, Grant. These ORs are that. So I should move on. An elite unit cannot withdraw because it's got nowhere to go. However, it can trace communication. So if it cannot withdraw, if it was game turns 1 through 4, and this is what we were doing before, now we're on to game turn 5. If the elite unit is in communication, yeah, that's right. I'm just having a hard time with this, really, am I not? And I've done it a few times in the game already. If the elite unit is in communication, which it is, yeah, then place the unit in the Japanese reserve units pool. So that would go in the cup, right? elite units out of communication are placed in the Japanese elite units eliminated box, which is over there. We managed to get 3 units in there, right? And then, but that's not the case because it can trace communication. And then at the end of game turn 4, randomly select 1/2, round up the elite units in the pool and place them in the Japanese reserve pool. Oh, I've not done that. Yeah, I remember reading that. I've not. Well, I'll tell you what, I've not done that. But are you telling me that that's where I should have been reading that? Come on. At the end of game turn 4, randomly select 1/2 round up of the elite units in the pool and place them in the Japanese reserve pool. Units not picked are removed from the game. Please tell me that's written somewhere else. Please tell me that that is not where I should be finding that information for that. I can't believe that it's just in here. So I've obviously missed it. I'm sure it must be somewhere. I'm not going to go hunting for it. Because I'm a bit annoyed that I've missed this. But please tell me where this is written in the rules. You might say it's written right there in the rules, Grant. Yeah, okay, that is true. But you're not telling me that I should have, at the end of game turn 4, realised that I had to do that. And it's posted in this rule here called Japanese withdrawal. Come on. Come on, I'm sure I'm not being awkward there. So this must be somewhere else in the rules, surely. If it's not, then... okay. Right, well, fortunately, I can deal with this now. Now, we've placed a reserve since from this cup already, and that should have happened before... these should have been randomly put back before that happened. So we're meant to randomly select 1/2 of these. So there's 3 of them. So I'm going to flip these down. And yeah, I can't remember nothing about them now. So I'm going to randomly select half of them. It's rounded up, isn't it? Yeah, round up. So I'm going to pick these 2, okay? And I'm chucking these back in the cup. And then this one gets removed from the game. So that was that. But I cannot believe that that is not somewhere else written in the rules. But you never know. You never know. Okay, so moving back to this, because we're not in game turn 4, we're in game turn 5. So there is... Hang on. Sorry. So that was for game turns 1 to 4. So game turns 5 through 16, elite units that are in communication are placed face down in the Japanese reserve pool. Face down in the Japanese reserve pool. That just, there's... yeah, it's just going in the cup, right, okay. So basically that is going where I thought. It's going back into the cup, the reserve cup, right? So I'll chuck that in there as well, and then that's us done with. I thought it was maybe going to be different, because that's the same then, isn't it? Place the unit in the Japanese reserve units pool. Although there it says just place it in there, and there it says place it face down, but I don't know. Not so sure. I don't know, okay. Elite units that are not in communication are removed from the game. So if we happen to, yeah, whereas in game turns 1 to 4, they would only go in the Japanese unit eliminated pool and had the chance to come back at the end of game turn 4 when we do this. Now that if we eliminate one that's not in communication, it's removed from the game. Okay. Right, that was an awful job getting through that. Sorry about that. That's just I don't know. Sometimes the way I read things, and I had things right for the start, and then I was getting confused. Okay. Okay, just having a look at this here. It's in rough as well, and this one's got depth. So It's just the unit strength. It's just the unit gets a 1.5. So I wonder about the possibility. We've got 2 HQs adjacent to it. So 1st Battalion of 8th Regiment or 3rd Battalion of 2nd Regiment. He's not going to be in command, is he? Damn it. No. I thought I could maybe have had a go. This guy, well, mind you, it's a poor strength I've got, really. But he's full strength, so 7. Although he's going to get half, doesn't he? So half rounded up is 4, isn't it? Yeah, 4. And then attack with us. These are both from the same battalion, obviously. So it'd be 6 strength attacking in there. But I could have possibly chucked in some artillery or something else, which I think I maybe would have considered. However, they are... Now, Martin also, he reminded me that the 8th Marine Regiment can control one other battalion from a different regiment. When we say that, actually, Martin, there's a good question, is it not? At the moment, I mean, is that throughout the US action phase? I mean, I'm assuming it must be, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it must be. Because I can't suddenly say now, if these were in range, which they're not, that, okay, he's going to command them, and then once they've done their thing, then he can, no, that can't be. Right, okay, again, yeah, it sounds like you're having a bad time now, Grant. Your daft thoughts here. However, this is out of range anyway. This regimental HQ has only got a command range of 2. So it cannot reach this. Now, this guy is always in command of himself, yeah. But because he's out of command from his regimental HQ, he doesn't have the range to stretch out and grab his other units, which is really annoying. What about 1-8? No, this isn't. This is the only other option, is attacking with 1-8. That's not got the range. Right, pause, Grant. I was just trying to find the other companies from 1-8. There's one there. Unfortunately, he's got a step wall, so doesn't have his range. And then there's the headquarters, and then there's A18 up there, which doesn't have the range. We're still missing B18, and I checked the losses box, but it's not there either. So I'm not sure where he's went to. B18. Okay, eventually found him. He's up here, disrupted. Yeah, so the only attack I can make on this, but I'd like to get at these and see what they are at least. I mean, it might still be worthwhile doing that. I don't know. Maybe it's silly. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I could use this guy, probably this guy, because he's got 3 strength rather than 2, to attack this. And how much? I can only put 4 artillery points in, can't I? And I need to double check he needs to be in command of his regimental HQ and have a radio, which I think that both of that sort of ticks the boxes. But that would only be 7 strength. See, if I was able to bring something ranged in as well. Right, no, it doesn't matter if he commands some other unit. It can only be 1 battalion that makes the attack. You can't have different battalions attacking. And there's no, I don't have anything, I don't even have any tanks in range. There's nothing here that's a step was. This is all disrupted. We've got a tank here, but it's just out of range. There's a tank in there, which is just out of range. I think this is just a stat loss, it is. So no, so if I want to attack that, the most I'm going to get is 7 strength, and that's using artillery. And I just wonder if it's still worthwhile. Man, yeah, it's not very good, is it? Whether I need to just move in and get closer to it, go for the next turn. Yeah, this is a mess, this area, actually. You know, this is a CC unit where we're going to, but everything's now disrupted in there. We've got a hero that's able to supply the CC, but I've no any other infantry adjacent to this. It is revealed I could barrage it, and I'm looking at this tank thinking, can I barrage it with this? But it's not in command. And then I thought, well, is it not in command of this? But no, because it's not in command, it's regimental HQ, so cannot stretch out. And to be honest, I don't know how these link, how the tanks link. All I can take out of it is that if he was in command from his regimental HQ, he would be able to stretch out 3 hexes and give this an action. Because he's from the same division. That's the best I can get out of that. I think there's more to it than that, and I think this whole assign tank and engineer units to US battalions is something to do with it, but we're in the dark still on that one. So, however, he cannot stretch. Hey, hang on. He can. 1, 2, 3. That HQ can, Grant. And he is in command of his regimental HQ, so he can stretch out 1, 2, 3 hexes and give that an action, I think. So I could have a barrage at this with 3 strength. I know I've suddenly jumped away from this one. But yeah, I'm just looking at what things I can try and do. And at least if I knock this out, disrupt it, as in it knocks out brown and might enable me to move, I don't know, red and blue fires into there, but red fires into there as well. So your movement under fire, moving from there to there, and through the red. Yeah, unless we take a wee try at this. But 7 strength. Let's just say the unit's a 2. It gets 1.5 strength. Well, only makes it a 3. 7 against 3. There's only 2 to 1, so we'd need to have the weapons to get the disruption. No. Remember, it's got depth, Grant. So that'd be a JX, wouldn't it? At least we'd see the unit and then eliminate the depth marker with that. If it happens to be a 3, then it's going to get 1.5. So it's going to be 4.5. Is that going to round up? I think that rounds up, doesn't it? If the strength of the unit's a 3, and it gets 1.5 times strength, does that make it a 5? I think it does. I think it was going to round up to a 5, isn't it? So if I had 7 against 5, then we're only 1 to 1. Or are we 3 to 2? Either way, we'd be revealing the depth marker, and things can only go wrong from there, I think. What's the barrage chance on that tank then with a 3? Yeah, 3's alright actually. Symbol or colour. So maybe I should do that, because there's nothing really else this tank can do. So I think I'll have a go at that. Just let me double check. Yeah, I think that's okay. So I'm going to attempt barrage with this tank. And like I say, my belief is that he's getting command from this HQ 1-8, who is in command from his regimental HQ. That's 2 hexes within 2 hexes, and these stretch out 3 hexes, 1, 2, 3. And all I can say is he's from 2nd Division. The tank's from 2nd Division, so this is able to command this. So I'm going to put this down the bottom. We're going to give that an action to barrage there with a strength of 3. We need the colour, or that. What was the symbol then, Grant? It's a diamond. Yeah, so we need a brown or a diamond. Is that right? Barraging unit symbol or fire colour. On a strength of 3. That's not a pillbox. Yeah, so we're looking for colour or symbol. Right, here we go. Oh, having a laugh. No brown, no diamond. No, well, that didn't go well, did it? Right, I don't know. I'm not sure if this is stupid or not, but I mean, you'd only have 6 artillery points, Grant. This is you using 4 of them up already. If I just use 3, well, we're basing it on the fact that if the unit's a 2 and he's going to get increased to a 3, that's 3. So if I go in with 6 strength, that's 2 to 1. If I go in with 7 strength, that's still just 2 to 1 anyway, isn't it? So I'm maybe just as well using 3 artillery points. If he becomes a 3 and he rounds up to a 5, we're still that 1 to 1 anyway. I'm not sure if it would be 3 to 2 or not, but the results are the same. We'd still be flipping over the depth marker. And if we happen to get 3 to 1, bear in mind this is weapons wise as well. What weapons are we bringing? We're not bringing a lot, are we? Flamethrower, mortar, and radio, isn't it? He's got radio as well. So we would have to get lucky with the weapons as well, Grant. Could things go even worse here and end up us taking a step loss and things like that? It's possible. Right, so just checking how to use artillery. A US unit is in command range of a regimental HQ. We're talking about this guy here. He would be in command of that regimental HQ, of his own regimental HQ. He's in the field of fire of the target. Yes. And he has radios. Yeah. The headquarters have radios. So I can call in artillery. And yeah, and you can use up to a maximum of 4. That's just for barrage, but I'm assuming attacks would be the same. Just try to see where I wonder if maybe there's not a restriction when you're attacking. Because that bit that I'm reading, where I got the 4, it says this is under the US barrage results table. US divisional artillery, largest allowed single barrage is 4 points. US corps artillery, largest allowed single barrage is 5 points. But we're not doing a barrage here. So I'm allowed to use more artillery points. I'm not finding anything that's telling me. You would think it would be here. Okay, I found it. Page 19, 8.5.3a, artillery fire restrictions. The player may never assign more than 4 divisional points and no more than 5 core artillery points to the same attack or barrage. There you go. Okay, so we can only do 4. Do we want to do this? It feels kind of daft. But, yeah, whatever. Now, is there any point using this guy instead? No, can I do it? Can I do that? Well, yeah, because he is in 1, 2, 3. He is in command of that HQ. I'm not really sure. He might actually want to want to move and like try and get beside his buddies here, or his buddies might. Well, I suppose his buddies could maybe move in. I mean, if we do happen to disrupt us, it would be a good result. Although it would have been nicer to have got Brown down as well, because that would have avoided things. However, well, if I do the attack with him, that's 2. And what do I want to achieve? I want to achieve 6 strength, don't I? So I'd have to use 4 points, whereas I could just use 3 points with that. 3 artillery points. Just I suppose I'm thinking this guy maybe could make a move, you know. Just to cover this hex basically, because is there anything else going to be able to move in that hex? I'm not so sure there is. Okay, just having another thought here about possibly I started thinking about airstrike or naval gunfire. Naval gunfire in particular gives a strength of 6. Now, we've got 2 of each because we've got the event. Okay, you know, I don't. It's not great using these up right away on the first sort of attacks, but I'd hate to get to the end of this US action phase and maybe not have used it at all and found out that I could have. So there's that way of looking at it too. So if I attack with that and that, use the 6 and that 9, and if I did get a 3 to 1, okay, if this turns out to be a 2 strength, up to 3 because of being in the rough, then 9 against 3, if I happen to get the weapons, yeah. The chances of the weapons, naval gunfire, the weapon requirement for naval artillery is met, or if airstrike or artillery points expended, they satisfy all AR and DE requirements. The kind of airstrike or artillery gives me that little bit, that extra weapon really though. And I've not seen NA on anything yet. I'm not saying it's not going to be there, it will eventually, but just wonder if maybe they're deeper into the game. So I still feel like you should stick with artillery, but I suppose there's a chance we get a 1, and then 1.5 of that would move up to a 2. So if you've got the 6 there, right? So I definitely want 6 strength. I'm going to use artillery. I just okay. Let's just do it. I'm going to use this guy. I'm going to use that guy to attack, and I'm going to use 4 points of my divisional. Wait now, we've got different markers, mind, as it was pointed out to me. Where are they? Well, I've not brought them out. Hang on a sec. Right, so there we are. So we've got 6 for up until I think next turn is where it jumps up again. So we're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I'll just put it on top. Yeah, and then that keeps that intact, so that you know. I mean, I could have, but yeah, I've supplied the counters for a reason, and they are kind of usable for that. So make the use of them. Right, yeah, I'm not sure if this is daft or not, but yeah, let's go with it. Like I say, I could have saved myself 1 point by using that to attack, but kind of think, well, are you going to move that into there though, Grant? I think it was just to cover up that hex for the purposes of it reinforcing. I mean, don't get me wrong, if we're, no, yeah, you could actually. if you do miraculously happen to eliminate this and it withdraws, it could just move into there, couldn't it? I think the likelihood of us getting that result's pretty unlikely, but it's not impossible, I suppose. Yeah, but I don't want to take this. Well, actually, no, hang on. I can't move under fire with that, can I? Because we've already established that. And I think that must be right, that point Martin brought out about the fact that if you're moving a headquarters with an infantry and they get hit in the movement under fire, I think it then stops the HQ from moving. So you either got to take the hit on the HQ, or you leave them both back in the hex for where they started from. Anyway, that's getting into different things. Right, let's just do this. Yeah. So I've only got 6 strength, and I'm attacking this, and it's in the rough. Okay. Right, let's see how foolish this was. Yep. Oh, come on, give me a break. I'm going home. We're not going to have the weapons either, are we? Yeah, it was a daft attack, but I can't believe that is the 3rd 4-strength elite unit that I've drawn out that cup. There's only 4 of them that came into the game on game turn 3. Yeah. I'm actually hoping I count up and I've got catastrophic loss and I can just chuck the towel in. And then, you know what? I probably would be up to starting again once we get answers back from Joe. If I'm satisfied with the answers that we get, then maybe just start again and do things properly. I mean, particularly if I find out these units should not be in these positions, because that's the 3rd one now. We've just eliminated one for there. Well, put it back in the cup. That's harsh. Okay, right, well, we've got what we've got. So we've got 6 against 6, because remember, this gets 1.5 strength. However, we do not have Browning and Bazooka. We brought artillery, which gave us, what was it? AR and DE. And then we've got flamethrower, mortar, and radio. So we've got none of the weapons at all. Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse, because it counts to both of them, doesn't it? Yeah, this could be horrible. I probably deserve this. Well, whether I deserve it being a 4 or not, that you might have some sympathy with me there, maybe. But maybe not. I think you've got to get at these units though and reveal them. Have a look. You need to know what you're up against there. Anyway. Right, so we've got 6 against 6. So we've got 1-to-1. However, for every weapon requirement that the US player does not meet, move to the next row, i.e. worse on the table. And then once you get 1 to 3, which I believe we are going to. So we're on this Japanese unit, an unrevealed death marker, right? And we're sitting at 1-to-1, which would be reveal the death marker and recalculate. However, we don't have the Browning and we don't have the Bazooka, so we're going to go up to there and then up to there, and we're going to get AD. You know what? This might be... I don't know. See, these don't look... Yeah, once you get at things, it's maybe not as bad as you actually think. Again, this is... Yeah. Once you played these games once, you get to see these things and... Okay, well, we've got an AD result, so you would think it'd be awful. This is a one, I think, where we take step losses in here. But the unit would have to be alone for that. So even if you go along to these, there's not any damage done as such. These 3 are good. That one, in fact, the 4 are pretty good, and then you've got no effect for the other 2. None of these are awful. We are getting to reveal the depth marker, however. No, hold on. Because you can shift left as well, can't you? That's the danger. If more like it says there, for every weapon requirement the US player does not meet, move to the next higher row, i.e. worse on the table. No further row shifts once the combat is on the 1 to 3 line. And it links 8.34, which I don't know the relevance of. There is not an 8.34 rule. So there's not an 8.3.4 rule in the rule book, so I don't know what that's referring to. Excuse me. But then the next part says, if more requirements are still not met, shift 1 column to the left on the same row. Never shift left more than 1 column. However, that could be bad enough, because if you're in here and then you shift to this one, this is where this is where they gain depth, and that one in particular, AX, is 1 step, 1 US step is eliminated and 1 unit is disrupted, and the D plus gives them depth as well. So you can see that they're both really bad. Right, well we've got the AD result because we are on the 1 to 3, which is all US units in the hex. Did I read that already? All US units in the hex with the most steps. Right, yeah, because you could be attacking from different hexes. Are disrupted. Do not count disrupted units. Right, when you're counting up the most units. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, well, it's bad, but you know what? We're disrupted, okay? We've not done anything to it, okay? But we've seen what it is. So there's that. That's about all the good that's come of it. And now we've got a situation now where this guy can't make this move now anyway, because this is not disrupted as we were maybe, well, we were hopeful of, but we were nowhere near that. Yeah, okay, so we're next. So I was looking at this again, I thought, well, this is 1-8, isn't it? And we've got the heavy weapons there. We're going to have to try and do something about this next turn. I thought, could bring that down into there. I'm just leaving this guy on his own, but I don't know. Does green fire into there? It does. So this would be a movement under fire into there as well. I think I'm probably better just disrupting that machine gun position there. And then maybe, I don't know, remember we've got 4 movement points, so maybe it's possible to move something into there and then into there, maybe. Okay, I'm gonna, now this will get, it's in command, it's got a free action, no problem. No, we're looking for units that have just got 2 steps, Grant. 2 steps, if I come across a company that's either got 2 steps or 1 step, that's when I want to chuck a step loss marker into the losses box. And that's what I'm going to do throughout this US action phase. So I'm going to attack this for 5, and there's no bonuses to that. So we've got 5 to 1. We do not have... Right, sorry, 5 to 1, which breaks down to 3 to 1. We do not have the weapons because we're not flanking, so it's 2 to 1, so it's going to disrupt that unit. Yeah, that's not great, but I'm not even sure we can get something into a flanking position, to be honest. Well, yeah, no, probably not. We might be able to move something into here and something into there, I suppose. Yeah, anyway. Right, okay. listen, that's at 1 hour and 10 minutes, and you can see that this is going to take a while. So I do have hopefully more time tonight. I do need to take a break for now. But yeah, if I just keep them, I mean, I reckon this US action phase is probably going to take me 3 parts maybe, you know, unless I get moving a little bit, because it's tricky to work out what I'm trying to do, and I'm picking the easy bits here, the bits that are adjacent. Once I decide, right, what am I going to do with these guys, where am I going to move them, you know, and the fact that AP really kicks in for me, I get, you know, hopefully I can pause the camera more, but however, it's still going to take a long time, right? So yeah, that's just what you become used to with my videos, isn't it? It's just how it is. It's how I play the game. And yeah, I've said this before all the time. I say it. Right, I'm going to just cut this one now though. So we've got the US action phase started, kinda, just a little. But I'm hopefully going to come back a bit later. Although I might have had a drink or two this evening, and we'll see if we can stumble our way through a wee bit more of this US action phase. Alright, okay guys, cheers.